Well, today we were able to negotiate an agreement with Uber to allow them to pick up and drop off passengers at the Albuquerque Sunport. So it's good news for our passengers, and it's another transportation option for citizens of Albuquerque. And we were also able to negotiate in a liability clause, a background check clause, a zero tolerance policy for alcohol and drug abuse, and a non-discrimination policy into the agreement as well. So it's good news for Albuquerque and our passengers.
So was this prohibited at the Sunport beforehand?
Well, to be able to be a vendor at the Albuquerque Sunport, the city ordinance requires you have an agreement in place, and so this brings Uber into compliance. We're happy that they were able to sit down with us and work this out. It also requires them to pay $1 to drop off and $1 to pick up, so it helps level the playing field with the cab companies, and so everybody has a chance to thrive, and it gives our passengers in Albuquerque just one more option for getting to and from the Sunport.
If this were prohibited at the Sunport, how would it be regulated?
Right. Ask that again. So
if this kind of service were prohibited at the Sunport, right, how would security and airport police regulate it?
Well, okay. Once again, I understand. I kind of understand your question. I want to make sure I understand it completely.
Well, you say
right. So starting today, you will be able to use your Uber app to call an Uber driver and drop you off and pick you up at the airport. Yeah, Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
So there wasn't even really an enforcement policy of whether or not you could do it before?
Well, prior to today, we did not have an agreement with Uber, so we're happy to announce that we do have an agreement with Uber now. They're going to be paying some dollars to drop off and pick up passengers, and of course they were also willing to put in some really important clauses into the contract to keep passengers safe, and that includes liability clause, background check clause, and others.
And they'll be coming along the arrival?
Well, it'll be just like using Uber anywhere in the world. You pull out your app, you call a driver, the driver comes and picks you up and takes you on your way.
Right.
Yeah.
Tom, you got anything?
So there's a couple, just for a little bit more background. So what we're going to charge Uber is $1 to pick up a passenger and $1 to drop off a passenger. It's a 6-month pilot project, so we'll be able to reevaluate at the end of this to make sure that we have a level playing field with the 4 cab companies that already can pick you up and drop you off at the Sunport. Because a part of this is to allow a new, exciting, and disruptive technology into the city, and the fact that we're open for business is important. But we also want to make sure that we're doing our best to honor those folks who have long-standing investments in our community. We think this strikes a good balance.
Do you think this is going to affect any of the surrounding parking businesses?
Well, I don't know that I don't think it'll affect any of the parking businesses. What it actually will do, and the long and short of it is, it gives you one more opportunity to get to and from the Sunport, and it allows you to do that in a way where you're working with an established company that has an agreement with the Sunport. So we're there as regulators to watch them, just like we watch the cab companies, to make sure we're keeping passengers safe. But it makes it easier and more convenient, and it's a good sign for Albuquerque. It's one of the things that we want to do as a city is we want to be forward thinking. We want these new and disruptive technologies in our city, and we think we can do that in a way that honors the long-term existing businesses like the cab companies, but provide those really important opportunities for passengers to get picked up and dropped off. I know that there's people that fly in here all the time, and they're regular users of Uber and other services all over the country. And for them to have that opportunity in Albuquerque, it just puts us on par with most airports in the country, and it's good news.
What about Lyft?
I think Lyft actually, I'm gonna, not for the record here, but I think Lyft actually left after the PRC changed some of the rules.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they ceased operations here. So hopefully the PRC and others will be able to work out an opportunity for these, new companies to come in. As I said earlier, the largest retailer in the world now doesn't own a single store. The largest transportation company doesn't own a single car, and the largest lodging company in the world doesn't have a single hotel room. I mean, the world's changing. These are disruptive technologies. Albuquerque is a forward-thinking place. We want our trajectory to be up. So let's provide opportunities for these new, exciting businesses to come in and provide opportunities for our consumer, but let's do it in a way that honors the companies that have been here for a long time, who've made long-standing investments, and at the end of the day, let's do our best to keep people safe.
Why is it so important to do background checks for liability?
Well, it's just really, if you or I want to get into a cab or into an Uber or a Lyft or anything else, I want some assurances that the company has done some background checks on that, and it's just an important consumer protection. And Uber was more than happy to sign that clause into effect into this contract. So it's good. It's one more layer of safety for the consumer.
And how soon can this consumer start using this?
Today. So as of today, you can use your Uber app and you can call an Uber and get yourself to and from the Sunport. And it's just one more opportunity for you to travel safely in our community.
And you said there's a zero tolerance policy with
Yeah, we're going to give you a copy of the contract to take back with you. Do we have an extra copy? Yeah, so we'll give you a copy of that so you'll be able to read this. There's 4 really important clauses. One is a background check for drivers. One is a zero tolerance for alcohol and substance abuse. One is a liability policy that Uber will carry, and the other one's a non-discrimination clause. So these are all things that are important to create a consumer experience that is safe and efficient.
Of course, this is a hypothetical, but if that zero tolerance policy is violated, does that mean that driver won't be able to do this anymore, or Uber won't be able to do this?
Yeah, what we're going to do on that one is we're going to show you the contract clause, let you read that, and then of course that'll be a question for both Uber and the folks here at the Sunport that negotiated that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a standard industry clause. So it's I just, as the non-lawyer here, I'll turn you over to the lawyer guys.
That's okay.
And then overall, generally, how does the city feel about doing this today?
Well, it's a positive step forward. I mean, I travel, as mayor, I travel for pleasure as well, and I use Uber in other cities around the country. It's a great service, and we want it to be here in Albuquerque. It helps with the DWI situation. If somebody wants to go downtown and have a drink or go to a restaurant and have a glass of wine, they can take an Uber. We don't, I think it'll positively affect public safety from the DWI standpoint. People don't have family and friends here. When they need assistance and a ride, they can do that. It's just like a cab company from the standpoint of if you need a ride, you can call. It's just one more opportunity. And so, I take cabs in cities, I take Uber in cities. I've had good experiences with both. So this is just another opportunity. And every time we can provide an opportunity as a city to allow a new and exciting consumer opportunity to come to town, that's what we're trying to do. We're open for business, we're forward thinking as a city. Uber has agreements with many, many cities around the country and around the world. There's no reason that Albuquerque, New Mexico shouldn't be an open and welcome playing field for these new businesses to come in.